Once upon a time, there was a young and beautiful princess named Snow White who lived in a faraway kingdom with her father and stepmother. Her stepmother, the queen, was also very beautiful but arrogant and proud. She spent all day looking at herself in front of the mirror, which was magical. When she stood in front of it, she would ask, "Mirror, mirror, who's the fairest of them all?" Then the mirror would answer, "You are the fairest of all women." The queen was happy because she knew her mirror always told the truth. However, as the years passed, Snow White's beauty and kindness became more apparent. Her good qualities surpassed the physical beauty of the queen. The day came when the queen asked again, "Mirror, mirror, who's the fairest of them all?" And the mirror answered, "Snow White, whose kindness makes her more beautiful than you." The queen was filled with rage and ordered the huntsman to take the young princess to the forest and make sure the wild beasts took care of her. With deception, the huntsman took Snow White to the forest, but when he was about to follow the queen's orders, he felt pity for the beautiful young woman and said, "Run far away, poor girl. Find a safe place to live. Being alone in the big forest." Snow White ran as far as she could until nightfall. Then she saw a small cottage and went in to sleep. Everything in the cottage was smaller than usual. There was a table with a white tablecloth and 7 small plates, and with each plate a spoon. There were also 7 little knives and forks and 7 little glasses filled with water. On the wall, there were 7 little beds, one next to the other, covered with sheets as white as snow. Snow White was so hungry she ate a bit of vegetables and bread from each little plate and drank a drop from each glass. Then she wanted to lie down in one of the beds, but none fit her size until she finally could settle in bed, number 7. When it had already darkened, the owners of the cottage returned. They were 7 dwarfs who dug and extracted gold and precious stones. In the mountains, they lit their 7 lanterns and saw that someone had been in the cottage as things were not in their place. Then the first noticed a wrinkle in his bed and said, "Someone got into my bed," and the others checked their beds. Someone was in our beds too. But when the 7th looked at his bed, he found Snow White sleeping peacefully and called the others. "Oh heavens," they whispered. "What a lovely girl." When dawn arrived, Snow White woke up, very scared to see the 7 dwarfs standing in front of her. The dwarfs were very friendly and asked her name. "My name is Snow White," she replied, and told them all about her wicked stepmother. The dwarf said, "If you can clean our house, cook, make the beds, wash, and sew, you can stay as long as you want." Snow White happily agreed and stayed with them. Time passed, and one day, the queen decided to consult her mirror and discovered that Snow White was living in the forest. Furious, she used magic to poison an apple and took the appearance of an old woman. "One bite of this apple will make Snow White sleep forever," said the wicked queen. The next day, the dwarfs went off to work, and Snow White was left alone. Soon after, the queen disguised. As an old woman approached the kitchen window, the princess offered her a glass of water. "You're very kind," said the old woman. "Take this apple as a token of gratitude. The moment Snow White bit the apple, she collapsed. The animals of the forest ran to tell the 7 dwarves what happened. The dwarfs managed to get to the cottage while the queen fled. The wicked queen ran desperately through the forest. She was very excited, thinking she had achieved her goal. But she was also scared at the thought of being discovered. It began to rain, and the sky darkened. The queen couldn't see the path, as the rain and darkness made it impossible to see. Until finally, unable to see where she was going, the evil queen fell down a cliff, dying instantly. When the dwarfs saw Snow White, they knew they had to place her in a glass coffin. Everyone hoped that the beautiful young girl would wake up someday. One day, a handsome prince crossing the forest on his horse saw the beautiful young woman in the glass coffin, and amazed by her beauty, he gave her a kiss on the cheek. The young woman woke up, as the spell could only be broken with a kiss of true love. Snow White and the prince got married and lived happily ever after.